Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'd love it if you could leave a comment letting me know where you're listening from around the world. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Story 1. It was around 2 a.m. when I was driving back home from my cousin's house. The road stretched for miles with nothing but dark fields on either side. No streetlights, no houses, just my headlights cutting through the blackness. It was the kind of road that made you feel alone in the world. The kind where you start questioning if you're even moving forward or just stuck in some never-ending loop of asphalt and darkness. The only sound was the hum of my engine and the occasional thump of my tires over uneven pavement. Then I saw him. At first, he was just a shadow in the distance, an upright figure where there should have been nothing. As I got closer, the details sharpened. A man, standing in the dead center of the road. He wasn't moving, just standing there, arms hanging by his sides, staring directly at me. My heart jumped into my throat. My foot hit the brake instinctively, the tires screeching against the empty road. The car rocked forward before stopping a few feet away from him. The man didn't flinch. He just stood there. His clothes were filthy, hanging off his frame in loose, tattered folds. His face was pale, too pale, and his eyes weren't right. Hollow, black pits that seemed to absorb the light from my high beams instead of reflecting it. I had the sudden, stomach-churning thought that he wasn't actually seeing me at all. I honked the horn. No reaction. My hands were shaking as I gripped the wheel. Every instinct in my body was screaming at me to drive around him, but something stopped me. Maybe it was the way he was standing, like he had been placed there, like he wasn't meant to move. I swallowed hard, my mouth dry. I didn't want to get out, and I sure as hell didn't want to sit here any longer than necessary. I eased my foot off the brake and turned the wheel slightly, inching the car to the right. As soon as I did, he moved, not walked, just shifted. One moment he was still, and the next, he was right back in front of my car. I gasped, my breath hitching painfully in my throat. It was like watching a bad cut in a movie, a frame skip that shouldn't be possible in real life. 1 second, he was standing 10 feet away. The next, he was right there, inches from my hood, head tilted slightly to the side like he was listening for something. The air inside the car felt suddenly too thick. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding against my ribs. My hands were ice cold on the wheel. I threw the car into reverse, ready to back the hell up and find another way home. But before I could move, I heard it. A rustling sound outside, not from the man in the road, from the fields on either side of me. I turned my head just a little, just enough to see out of the corner of my eye. There were shapes in the darkness, at least 5 or 6 of them, crawling on all fours. They were barely visible in the dim glow of my headlights, just hunched figures moving low through the grass. I don't know how I knew, but I felt them staring at me, watching, getting closer. That was it. I wasn't waiting for whatever was about to happen next. I slammed my foot on the gas, gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles ached. The man in the road didn't move. He didn't even blink. I had no choice. I swerved at the last second, missing him by inches, the car veering dangerously toward the ditch before the tires caught and straightened out. My back tires screamed as they spun on the pavement, the car fishtailing for a moment before I gained control again. I didn't look back. I didn't check my mirrors. I just drove. I drove like the devil himself was behind me, gripping the wheel, so hard my fingers hurt. The road stretched on and on, the darkness pressing in around me. My stomach was in knots, my skin crawling like 1,000 invisible insects were skittering over me. I didn't slow down until I saw the first streetlight on the edge of town. When I finally glanced at the rearview mirror, my stomach lurched. The road behind me was empty. No man, no figures in the field, nothing. I told myself it was over, that I was safe. But even now, weeks later, I still see him in my head, standing there in the middle of the road, waiting. And sometimes when I close my eyes, I see something worse. I see those black pits where his eyes should have been, and I realize maybe he was seeing me after all. Story 2. I don't know if I believe in ghosts, or demons, or whatever the hell this thing was, but I know what I saw, and I know what I felt. And if I live to be 100, I'll never forget it. It was late, way later than I should have been driving. I'd spent the evening at a friend's house, drinking a couple of beers, but not enough to be drunk, just enough to feel tired. The drive back home was a long one, 2 hours on an empty stretch of highway with nothing but trees and darkness pressing in for both sides. No houses, no streetlights, just me and the road. For the first hour, it was peaceful, the kind of quiet that makes you feel like you're the only person left in the world. The only sounds are the hum of my tires on the asphalt and the occasional rustling of the wind against my car. I wasn't in a hurry, just cruising, letting my mind wander. Then I saw the headlights. At first, they were just a pair of tiny dots in my rearview mirror, barely noticeable. Nothing weird about that. It was a highway, after all, but something about the way they moved made my skin prickle. They were coming up fast, way too fast. Within seconds, the car was right behind me, its high beams glaring into my mirror, filling my car with a blinding white light. I squinted, adjusting my mirror, but the glare made it impossible to see the driver. "All right, buddy," I muttered, gripping the wheel. "Go around." But it didn't. It just stayed there. So close I thought for sure it was going to hit me. My heart began to pound. This wasn't normal. Someone was either messing with me, or I'd attracted the attention of the wrong kind of person. I switched lanes. So did they. I slowed down. So did they. My mouth went dry. I tried to tell myself it was just some idiot playing games, maybe a drunk driver who didn't realize what they were doing. But my gut said otherwise. My gut said run. I decided to test them. The next exit was coming up, leading to a quiet rural road I knew well. A dead end, but it had a gas station at the turnoff. If they followed me there, I'd know for sure something was wrong. I hit my blinker, took the exit. My stomach tightened as I watched the headlights in the mirror. They followed. Every nerve in my body screamed at me to floor it, but I kept my speed steady. I didn't want them to know I was scared. The gas station appeared up ahead, a lonely island of flickering light in the darkness. I pulled in, parking near the doors, my fingers already reaching for my phone. The car pulled in behind me, but it didn't park. It just sat there, idling. I stared into my mirror, trying to make out the driver's face. But the lights, God, those damn lights, were still on, still blinding me. My breath came shallow. My hands shook as I fumbled with my phone, ready to call 911. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the car peeled away. The tires screeched against the pavement, and in an instant, it was gone, vanishing into the night. I sat there, heart hammering in my chest, staring at the empty road where it had been. I didn't move for a long time, just breathed, just waited, half expecting those lights to come back. They didn't. 15 minutes later, I forced myself back onto the highway. The whole way home, I kept checking my mirror, expecting to see those headlights behind me again, but they never returned. By the time I pulled into my driveway, I was exhausted. My body was buzzing with leftover adrenaline, but I forced myself to relax. Maybe it really had just been some asshole messing around. Maybe it had all been in my head. And then I checked my dash cam. The footage started out normal. Just my car, driving in the dark. Then, the headlights appeared. Bright, blinding, chasing me. But as I scrubbed through the footage, my hands turned ice cold. There was no car, no shape, no shadow, no outline of a vehicle at all. Just floating lights, following me, stalking me. And when I reached the part where it had pulled into the gas station, I felt my stomach drop. The lights hovered behind me for a few seconds. Then they flickered. Once, twice, and then they just vanished, like they had never been there at all. I don't drive that road anymore. I don't take night drives at all. And sometimes when I close my eyes, I can still see those lights, bright and terrible, glowing in the dark, waiting for me to get back on the road. Story 3. I was driving back from my parents' house late one night. The highway stretching ahead like a ribbon of endless black, my headlights cutting through the thick, oppressive dark. It had been a long night, longer than I intended. Mom always wanted me to stay a little longer, have one more cup of tea, hear just one more story about someone I barely remembered from childhood. I loved her, but by the time I finally pulled away from their house, I was exhausted. The road was empty, just me and my old sedan humming along. The hum had always been there, but tonight it seemed louder, like the car was whispering something beneath the steady growl of the engine. That was when I saw him. He was standing by the side of the road, just past the bend where the trees grew thick and hunched, their gnarled branches like fingers reaching toward the pavement. He was tall, wearing an old jacket that hung loose on his frame, his head tilted downward, face hidden. He didn't have a sign, didn't raise a thumb, just stood there. Something about him sent a jolt of cold through me, even before I could figure out why. Then I realized I had seen him before, not in real life, but in a dream. The memory hit me like a punch to the gut. Weeks ago, I had dreamed this exact moment. The same road, the same man. I had pulled over in the dream. The hitchhiker had leaned into my window, his face shadowed, and whispered something in my ear. I didn't remember what it was, only that I had woken up screaming. Now here he was. I tightened my grip on the wheel, my knuckles aching. My foot hovered over the gas pedal, but something held me frozen. A sick curiosity, a terrible knowing. He took a step forward. My headlights caught his face at last, and my stomach clenched so hard I thought I might be sick. It wasn't just that I had dreamed of him. It was that he looked exactly the same. Same clothes, same hollow eyes, same gaunt, lifeless expression. But the worst part, the jacket he wore, it was mine. An old, battered coat I had lost years ago. I hadn't seen that jacket in a decade. The world around me felt suddenly off, like reality had tilted ever so slightly on its axis. The air in the car turned stale, thick, like the weight of 100 unseen eyes pressing down on me. The hitchhiker took another step, and then He spoke my name, not just my first name, my full name. It hit me like ice water poured straight into my veins. My pulse thundered in my ears, my breath hitching in my throat. I didn't think, I just reacted. I slammed my foot on the gas, tires screeching as my car lurched forward. My hand was slick on the wheel, shaking so hard I could barely keep control. As I sped past him, I risked one glance in the rearview mirror. He was still standing there, not moving, not watching my car speed away, just standing like he had been waiting for me, like he would be waiting for me again. I drove straight home, barely remembering the rest of the trip, my mind replaying the moment over and over. I haven't taken that road since, and I don't pick up hitchhikers. Ever.